guys, I'm JC Peretz, founder of AllStarCharts.com, and I am joined once again by my esteemed colleague, Mr. Sean McLaughlin. What's up, Shawnee, baby?
Oh, man, I'm downright giddy. What a close that was.
Listen, talk about sell the rumor, buy the news. You know, we were certainly set up for that. You know, it's early, market just closed, but the euro was and Aussie set up for a ripper. The commercial hedgers certainly pointing to that. And the dollar index, the commercial hedgers just outright aggressively short. If today is any indication of what we are about to see over the next, 2 to 6 weeks or so, it could be really, really interesting if this dollar trade unwinds like the commercial hedgers are poised for. And I think that the stocks that have been showing relative strength, the stocks that have been resilient during the recent volatility and you know, just a lot of selling for most of this year. So I like Marsh McLennan. We had in our meeting today, Sean. You know, it stood out.
Yeah, we were talking about that this morning, and you know, the chart is obviously, I mean, you got the chart up here. It's super strong. I mean, that you got a 20-year chart? I'm more focused in the more near term, but I mean, just the bounce off the March 2020 lows was pretty robust. And look, I mean, there's people who might look at this chart and say, well, I can't buy here. This thing is, you know, it's already up so much. But I mean, it's got so many tailwinds behind it, JC. I mean, you could speak to it more than I can, but there's tailwinds. It's a cyclical, that the rotation's happening into this space. And, you know, the way I learned it in high school physics class, an object in motion tends to stay in motion. And I don't see any reason why Marsh McLennan would all of a sudden turn around right here.
Shawnee, baby, we're looking at a reinsurer. I got a Syrah.
Ooh, you fancy.
Happy hour is one of the happiest of hours.
That must have been a good close for you. You're drinking Syrah right after the close.
Listen, I worked my ass off today. Hit it hard early. You know, took the baby to get her flu shot. Came back, hit it hard some more. You know, a little happy hour at the close with Sean. I like it. This particular stock. Listen, I don't know much. But what I do know is that this line goes from the lower left to the upper right, and there's a lot of names. I want to show you what a lot of the most popular names amongst market participants, particularly in 2020, have done this year. Here we're looking at biotech, Chinese internet, the ARK funds just have been a disaster. Anything managed by Kathy Woods this year has been a terrible investment. The IPO index just crushed, right? So there's a lot of names that are like this. And if the market's going to go like they did today, biotech's put in a serious stick. If they're going to go, and if they can't knock down the worst names, what does that say about the rest of the market? So when I see something like MMC, reinsurer, this one doesn't look like banks. It doesn't look like most broker dealers. It doesn't look like most financials in general. It certainly doesn't look like regional banks. This one is in its own neighborhood, in its own like universe. Reinsurance, you know, when you look at the others like Aon and Willis, MMC by far and away is the strongest one. So the old lie on Wall Street that you want to buy low and sell high, it's a bunch of horse crap. We want to buy high and sell higher, baby. Let's go. Let's go.
I like it. And so we were looking at putting on a bullish trade here. And, you know, we observed that the options premiums were a little bit elevated. It didn't really make sense to buy a straight long call. It just felt like the odds were a little bit against us. So we decided on a bull call spread. We bought in April. We wanted to give ourselves, you know, several months for this thesis to play out. And we don't need this thing to really rip that far, JC, to make some money. But we bought the 170 calls in April, sold the 200 calls against it. I mean, look, in hindsight, maybe the 200 calls weren't the best strike to sell, only because there wasn't a whole lot of premium there. But I like that the 200 was a big round number, and I think that's going to act like a magnet for this stock. Seems like an obvious place for it to slow down. So, you know, I don't hate that we did it. I think it's a good trade. We paid $750 for it. Our gains are capped, right? We can't make any more money if thing rips past 200, but we'll have plenty of opportunity to exit our spread at a profit if it does so. But the most we could lose is $750 if we're dead wrong. If this thing just falls like a stone quickly, you know, the most we could lose is $750. But we do have a line in the sand, JC. I'm not going to just let this thing wither on the vine. If we get down to, it doesn't really, it shows up a little better on that zoomed in chart you got there. Um, the bottom green arrow that you got there, that corresponds with the 162 level. That's where we're looking at a risk management level. That's a daily chart, right? That you zoomed in on there.
Yeah, it's a chart within a chart. It's like I'm kind of like the Monet of the stock market.
That's what we call chart art. It's beautiful, JC. Anyway, that green arrow there at the bottom, that's corresponding to our risk management level at the 162. So if we can't hold 162, that's going to be my signal to get out, that we're either early on this trend or we're wrong. Either way, we want out. We want to minimize the loss. We don't want to take a 100% loss on this trade if we can avoid it. But of course, as always, JC, we size the position such that in the worst case scenario that we do take that 100% loss, it's okay. It's okay. Just wipe it off. Move on to the next trade. No big deal. That's how
You know what I like about this? I like it's a higher probability trade than maybe just buying outright calls or even a risk reversal. I saw this. I saw the relative strength. I saw the market under pressure overall, but we've had a bullish thesis. We figured if rates, particularly 30-year yields, are above 175, 10-year above 1.4, and small caps are holding their former lows, I think they could probably stick it and go. So far, we're seeing that. So this is a high probability trade with all of that relative strength. And you never agree with me. You always have like some sort of other perspective, which I respect, and I love that about you. Like, well, JC, maybe we shouldn't do like this. But I was like, Sean, MMC, bull call spread, let's go. And you were like, okay, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, look, if we were to just buy straight calls in this, I would probably have been looking at the 185 strike because those correspond with the 25 delta, which is my sweet spot for buying long calls. And this stock would have to move 15 points just for our calls to get in the money, and then we could start, perhaps making some money. Whereas doing the spread here, buying the 170, selling the 200. The stock doesn't have to move as much. The stock can only move $10 from here, and we have an opportunity to make some money. So that was the thinking behind doing the spread. I like it. I think it's going to work out. But if it doesn't, that's okay too, JC. We got a plan to get out if we're wrong.
No, I love it. High probability outcome. I think it's successful as well, obviously. Once again, for you guys keeping score at home, we are buying the MMC April 170-200 bull call spread for around $7.50. To be clear, that means we're going to be long the 170 calls and short an equal amount of the 200 calls. These are the MMC April expiration. Marsha McClellan, MMC. And Sean, the Miami Dolphins going for 6 straight against the New York Football Jets. You think they can handle it? 6 straight for the Dolphins, baby.
Well, like this chart, I can't argue against that trend, especially when your upper resistance is the New York Jets.
Boom.
Good luck.
Boom. Let's go Dolphins. Let's go, baby. 6 in a row. Sean, love you. Thanks for this. Go to allstarcharts.com/blog for more. Make sure to follow Sean at Chicago Sean. Follow me at Allstar Charts. And I will see you next week.
Take care, everybody.
Adios.